So, some of this Sunday cast is familiar. Some of the Sunday cast is somewhat familiar. Everybody's played before. But we have... I'm going to go from the table top left in a counterclockwise fashion. So first we have Michelle. Say hi.
Hi.
Tom.
Yo.
Jess.
Hi.
Charles.
Hola.
And last but not least, Whitney.
Present.
I didn't realize this was grade school roll call, but okay.
Feels like it.
Can I have everyone get in the Roll20 game that I linked in the Discord, please? Hear the beautiful tunage, and I can start passing out some character sheets that I need to make. Who gets a character sheet first? Let's do it in the same way. That and that. Alright, Michelle, you get a character sheet. Oh. We lost Charles. You ruined the camera order.
So you said you're playing music right now?
Yes, you should be able to hear music in the background if you're in the Roll20.
Yeah, so in the jukebox, it's saying the music is at 0000507. So I don't think it's playing for me for some reason.
You may need to refresh the page when that happens, because it might have done that weird thing where it kicked you out even though you didn't get kicked out.
Oh, when you reset the cameras, probably.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I'll just log back in.
Yep. So that's one sheet. I'm going to... Can everybody else hear the music?
Let me get back in, because I was on the wrong browser.
Good job.
Because I'm opening it as a link, it goes to my default browser. Which I forgot to switch back.
Alright.
After one of them decided to stop playing audio.
Not what I wanted. Let's go character number 3. And character number 4. Oh, wait, what? Stop. God damn it. Do this right. That would be... Come on, thank you. That one. That one. And then I think lastly it is... That's right. Okay, so everybody should right now have a character sheet.
Yep.
You're muted, Whitney, I think.
What is the name you put on it?
The name just auto-generates. When you create a new character sheet, it puts a name on the character sheet that I think is just a random series of characters.
No, that's my character's name now. My guy is Gaidiocree Pack.
That is such a terrible not name.
It is. It is.
All right. So, who has given thoughts to characters?
Yeah, I got a couple I'm interested in. So, the character that I probably am the most interested in playing, would be a witch, which would be a battlefield controller, and the main healer. Otherwise, I was also interested in a war priest as like a frontline fighter with he probably would use his abilities to like buff himself and that sort of thing.
Okay. Anybody else got some thoughts going in? Charles, I sent you the. I don't know if Charles is still on the call or not. I'll wait for him to tell us when he's back.
He gave a thumbs up.
Okay. Go ahead, Jess. You were gonna say something.
I was gonna say that I was considering either playing like a druid or maybe a sorcerer. I didn't know if we were gonna need a healer.
Druid. No, those are.
If I get to play a druid, I want her to be hippy dippy.
Oh my god, no.
Yeah, when I was looking through stuff to potentially play, I was also briefly looking at druid. Man, there's this it's like a Kraken class where or a Kraken alternate class that I was pretty tempted to be. But it looked like it would be really, really weak for several levels.
Then that would just be like a lot of the characters you've come up with historically. Super weak at high level, not so great at low level. Well, I mean, acceptable low level, but... What is the quality on this like?
Yeah, I'm sorry. There's been some issues going on all day with the online meetings for the you-know-what, and
Yep.
it's never ending.
That's gotta be stressful.
Everybody's doing the best they can, but everybody quickly loses patience. And those of us who know how to operate it then become like a valuable commodity. But like my ability to operate it literally comes from playing these games on Zoom. So it's like, I don't know, is there dice?
Are any of them saying, yes, we're including dice in the meetings?
Oh no, nobody has. It's just so
That would be like Charles's wet dream right there.
Oh. So Tom, you said you wanted to do, I know you aren't serious about the Warforged, but I heard Witch and then I didn't catch the other option. And then I heard Druid.
A Witch or War Priest are really the two I was looking at. Witch as like a healer and like battlefield control, or War Priest as like a frontline fighter.
Yeah, they're excellent against undead. They have a lot of good totems for undead fighting, if that would be. And then Jessica, you said you wanted to be a druid, is that correct?
Yes, I was thinking about either being maybe a druid or a sorcerer.
Okay.
Like what type of druid or sorcerer? Like what would they?
As far as for druid, I was thinking more like healing wise. I'm not sure. Can druids heal? I thought they could.
Druids do get some measure of healing, yes.
Obviously, I think sorcerer is just a straight DPS.
They can be a number of different ways. You can do Blaster Sorcerer. You can also go the route of playing Blood Rager and be melee Sorcerer. Looks like Other Whitney really wants you to play Druid, though.
Oh yeah, so actually I had a question. So like with our starting as spellcasting classes, does that include classes that start off with no spellcasting, like
nope,
Ranger,
you have
for
to
example?
start with spellcasting. That is a requirement. This is, you are going to basically kind of a caster's college.
How many spellcasting classes are there?
Lots. Witch, Wizard, War Priest, Cleric, Druid, Sorcerer,
Can you like post a
Summoner.
link somewhere?
I would have to write out the list because there's not like a specific list per se.
Yeah, if you go to Pathfinder SRD or Archives of Nathes, like if you just click on a class and you'll see if it.
Well,
has
if you guys can, if I can have both of you hit up D20 PFSRD, I'll put the link in the Discord just in case it would help. I can go through with you what the spellcasting classes are on that front page.
Oh yeah, and Steve, are you allowing the Occult Adventurer?
Nope.
Okay, so no, I think there's like 6 of those classes.
Yeah,
Tom, I already tried that shit.
No pseudopsionics.
And
Those are
what
not.
about
Those are
what
not
about
spellcasters.
Unchained?
No, Unchained. When I looked over, because the only class that would really affect is the the summoner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for like level 2 or something, also that might matter if we switch classes or multi-class. I mean.
Gotcha.
Okay, so what are we supposed to look at on that list?
Okay, so when you're looking at, so if you see there's core classes, base classes, alternate classes, and hybrid classes. So the bard, druid, sorcerer, and wizard of the core classes are, and I'll type them out real quick. So bard, druid, sorcerer, or I'm sorry, cleric, sorcerer, I'm gonna spell this wrong because I'm not concentrating, and wizard are are core classes, and then below that you have the magus, the oracle. I think shifter starts with spellcasting, right? Or does it take it at... No, it does not. Summoner and witch.
What's the difference between the types of classes?
I will talk about that in just a moment. I want to give you the full list first. And then there is the Arcanist, the Blood Rager, I don't think the Hunter gets spellcasting. Oh no, it does. Hunter, Shaman, Skald, I think, is the Barbarian, right?
Yeah, it is.
Skald and War Priest. So what we kind of have here is you have your base spellcasting types, which are what the core classes are. Those are the cleric, the druid, the wizard, and the sorcerer. And the bard. The bard, Whitney, you played one before. It's kind of a magical singer or performer that roams around, kind of telling tales and taking part in actual activities to kind of grow yourself as a person. Cleric
is Alchemist banned? It's not on the list that you made.
Alchemist does not technically get spells, and for the purpose of this game, I'm not going to have extracts count as spells.
Okay, because on the sheet it's like spells per day 1 at first level. So
it's extracts per day.
Okay.
So clerics are holy people. Their power comes from a divine being. Often they are either healers or like devotees of a specific idea, and they get powers based on that idea, or like that god's purposes. Druids are like animal lovers and environmentalists that have magic that has to do with nature or animals or the like. And sorcerer and wizards are people who sort of use magic to do a wide variety of things. They can manipulate magic to perform great feats, but they are less bound by what they can do by the divine. So when you compare like a cleric and a druid to a sorcerer and a sorcerer and a wizard tend to have more things that affect other people negatively. Whereas a cleric and a druid, if they have things that affect other people negatively, they're sort of situational. Like a druid will use vines to inhibit somebody. A cleric will use like divine light to affect people who are evil, or if they themselves are evil, who are good. Whereas a sorcerer and a wizard's abilities just kind of generally affect people, but they can't quite do the more miraculous things. Like they can't heal people directly. They can't make substantial changes to the environment around them without having to sort of work harder to do it. Whereas like a bard or a cleric or a druid might sort of inherently have that ability from their god or goddess. So then going down from there, beyond the core classes, there's sort of like just flavor differences. The base classes are sort of reflavorized versions of some of the core classes. Like the magus is sort of like a mix between a wizard and a fighter. The oracle is like a cleric, but instead of getting their powers from one god, they believe that like all the gods work as one team, and their power comes from all of the gods, but in a more limited fashion. And then there is the witch, and the witch gets their power from some unknown like being that kind of guides the path of what they plan on doing. And then the hybrid classes, these are all like mixes of things. The Arcanist is like a spellcaster that just wants as much raw spellcasting as possible. No focus, just give me all them spells, give them to me right now. The Blood Rager is a like big get in the front fighter type that uses their magic to empower themselves to greater heights. The Hunter is a mix between a druid and a ranger, so they're kind of about either distance fighting or close combat fightings, and they have like often an animal companion at their side. A skull or a shaman is a mix between kind of the witch and a cleric. They believe in kind of the and maybe a little bit of druid. They believe in kind of the ghosts of the wilderness, that the spirits of the wilderness kind of guide them and give them purpose. The Skald is a bard and a barbarian. So they sing war songs to everybody and imbue their rage upon other people around them. And the war priest is like a holy fighter. They go around like cleansing the world of enemies of their god or goddess. Questions from there?
So I was interested in either being a hunter or an arcanist.
Okay.
And I had two different concepts. I had an African-styled hunter with a hyena, and then I had an elven-style arcanist who was focused on grabbing as many spells as possible. That was actually my spell concept.
Okay. I'll rotate this.
And if you guys don't know what class you want to be, but know what role you want to be, that might help you figure something out too. Because I posted that thing with the party roles earlier, if anybody checked that out.
Does everyone have to be a different class?
No, everybody does not have to be a different class. In fact, I highly encourage the all-bard party, or the bardy, as I've always wanted to see happen. But that doesn't mean it's going to happen.
That was my party at the at Gen Con. Remember the Foxtrot girls? It was 4 bards and a rogue.
But yeah, there's no direct limit that people have to play different things. You don't even have to play something different than what you played the last time. I encourage people to play what they think they'll enjoy playing. That is the most important thing for both you and for me. Because if you're not enjoying it, then there's no sense in me running it. All right.
So... So, can you do multiple archetypes?
You can, as long as one archetype thing does not replace any of the abilities of another archetype thing.
What about changed?
It depends on how they change them. Like, what are the 2 archetypes you're thinking? Well, let's start with what class are you thinking about?
I was thinking of druid also.
Okay. And what archetypes are you thinking about? Because druid has so many archetypes that you 2 could be playing druids and be entirely different druids.
Well, the first one I was looking at was reincarnated druid.
Okay. Let me see this one. Okay, and what was the second one you were thinking of?
I haven't like really found a second one because I was starting looking for stuff that because I didn't know like if the chain how the changed would work, since that had a lot
So
of
with
change
this,
stuff.
it changes what your wild shape is. So, no, you would still. So basically, this just gives a penalty. So you couldn't take anything that deliberately removes it, but if the other thing changed it as well, you would have to take whatever the changes are as well. So if you pick 2 classes that gave you a -2 to your wild shape, you would have a total of -4 to your wild shape.
Where do you see what it does with the wild?
If you click on it directly and you read the subtext.
I missed that part.
Mm-hmm. Any thoughts from you, Whitney?
I don't know. I'm thinking. I was kind of between Magus and what was the other one? It was one of the ones Charles said, the one with the animal companion.
Ooh, the hunter. Yep.
Yeah. So but I'm trying to read more on them and then look at the link that Tom sent, showing kind of the different role options. I wish they had a grid on this because it's a little hard to read, but.
Whitney going very potentially different than her previous character.
Yeah, I told you. You're like, oh, you could do that again. I was like, fuck that, you killed her. So.
But I miss Pax.
You're lucky that you still get to live in the same apartment with me.
Damn!
What?
Alright, it's like that, huh? I was not
Maybe this
expecting
will help,
anywhere near
Steve.
this
Is
much
there
chat.
any interesting races that you're allowing that people could pair for combinations? Maybe that would be something that would spark people.
So races are the typical. I think I put them. Did I put them in the campaign voting or no?
Is that on Discord, Steve Areno?
I have to move it over. Hang on. Let me grab the notes for races. Because we are going to use the same races I allowed from the conscripted game. So I will. They are human, goblin, elf, dwarf, orc, half-orc, halfling, or hobgoblin. Or gnome.
Wait,
I'm sorry, gnome is also allowed.
I thought you said elf was allowed.
I did say elf.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, human, goblin, elf, dwarf, orc, half-orc, halfling, hobgoblin, and there should be gnome on there. Let me edit that.
So Hobgoblin would be great for like if you're interested in a Blood Rager or a Scald because they have a lot of good pluses, I personally think. So if you're thinking about a Scald, maybe a Hobgoblin Scald would be kind of cool. Throwing it out there.
I'm trying to decide if I want to just do the same race again.
Another hobgoblin?
Another hobgoblin. I like hobgoblins.
You just like their mains.
No. Maybe.
I'm actually
Wait.
thinking about potentially bugbear as well.
So, what about a Fey speaker druid?
Ooh, let me see Fey Speaker.
Sounds interesting.
Hang on, I just opened up bugbear as you're asking that, so so I
I
want to
know
double
you can only
check.
do one thing at a time.
It's okay. I would rather respond to the players than my own self-interest.
Did you say Space Dancer from the Doom novels? Wow, Steve, that's really far
Stop
out.
that, Charles. What one were you looking at, Jess?
Fey speaker?
Fey Speaker. Why don't I see Fey Speaker?
It's the one that uses charisma instead of wisdom.
Oh, is that
If you're-
I'm not seeing Fey Speaker.
If you're not, so Pathfinder SRD doesn't have the new stuff, so you got to go to Archives of Nephi.
Well, they do have it. They just don't have it associated correctly with the right thing.
Yeah, like it's.
Okay, so
That's why I stopped using it. Yeah.
Are there restrictions on what class you can be depending on your race? Or like some things that go better together than others?
There are some things that go better together than others, but there are no restrictions.
Like, can an elf be a blood rager?
Absolutely. Charles looked like he didn't like the idea for a moment there, but he might have just been looking at something else. So I have no problem with the face speaker. The face speaker would work fine.
Awesome.
I have not seen this class at all.
So what would be the best class to take vengeance for Pax's death? Blood Rager sounds pretty vicious.
I want to see you play a Blood Rager now.
The other Whitney plays a Blood Rager in one of our other games, and she's pretty awesome.
Does she wreak havoc?
Very much so.
She's like a Dampier, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't know what that means.
She's
She
half
got-
vampire.
She got mind controlled, and thankfully we were able to direct her focus to our tank. Otherwise, we would have all been murdered.
A dampier is a commitment for a party because you're going to have somebody that only gets healed by negative.
Yeah, but
Spells.
I'm not, and Dampier are not allowed in this game. Ever.
Yeah, so if somebody's take a dampier, it's really a tough thing.
There will never be
Yeah.
Dampier.
Well, I'd like to make the elf arcanist then, and you can be a hunter, Whitney.
Well, I might be a Blood Rager instead.
Well, now we're changing the two. Well, just for that, I'm going to be a machine smith from Lewis Porter Games.
No other Whitney. There will never be psionics. Stop it. Everybody keeps trying to get me to do psionics.
There is no psionics. There's only occult magic. That's different than psionics.
That's exactly what psionics is, and so no.
Wait, Charles, did you decide on a class? Or are you still thinking?
No, I'm going to go with the arcanist.
Raw magical
Elf
power.
arcanist. I want the raw magical power. And then I'm going to take nothing but leadership feats to really confuse everything.
I mean, if you were going to do that, you could have played the wizard that gets leadership at first level.
I'm not going to do that.
Okay. Michelle, have you thought about a variant?
A variant.
Or a second archetype?
I'm trying to do a spreadsheet to figure out what doesn't conflict.
You just have to play something that's super varietied?
What?
Can't play something standard?
Svart Warlock.
All right, so who's gonna be the party face?
Yep. Who is the party's face?
What does that mean?
And remember, you
The
don't
leader.
take your face off.
With social skills.
I was gonna say
You have to be able to talk
probably
to people.
a charisma caster of some kind. I could do it, or if we get a bard or something, they could do it.
Not me.
I'm not
I'm
seeing
gonna
any
be
bards
mean.
here.
Yeah, well, they died before, so.
I vote not me.
Yeah, I mean the charisma druid sounds good to me.
All right, I guess it'll be me.
Oh my god, this is gonna be a hippie campaign. Fuck.
Erasmus Sweetleaf loves all you damn hippies. I should get the. Did anybody read any of the Elminster books?
Yeah, I read a bunch of them.
Remember how the high elves had bird familiars? It was so funny and weird at the same time. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the Elf Arcanist. So
Okay. So let's make sure I'm taking this stuff down. So right now, Charles.
Actually, I don't think there's anything that doesn't conflict. What I'm saying.
Okay.
Unless I just accidentally deleted stuff that I shouldn't have.
Jess, you are going to be a face speaker druid.
Druid.
What race?
Elf.
A lot of elves.
Yeah.
I don't mind. Bunch of racist.
I want to be a high elf, so I want to talk down to every other species.
Tom, what race?
Well, it depends on what class I end up being.
I didn't think so. I was figuring they were both going to be human.
So, yeah, my witch is probably going to be human. My war priest would probably be half orc.
Oh, man.
And then, I mean, also depending on what we need, I might be a completely different third class.
Well, I think balance looks okay. We've got a frontliner. There's 2 druids.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what the 2 druids are going to do. I know Jessica was saying she's probably going to be a healer. I don't know what Michelle's planning on doing, though.
Yeah, Michelle.
I haven't found anything that doesn't conflict with reincarnation.
Shape-shifting
druids,
into various dangerous animals and killing people, right, Michelle?
Well, no, she's taking the class that gets a reduced wild shape. A version of the class that gets a reduced wild shape.
Yeah. I just get to reincarnate.
So, what then would you want to play? What would be the archetype you want to combine with the reincarnated druid?
I didn't find any that didn't conflict. So I was looking at it.
Okay. You said that didn't conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll just stick with reincarnated druid.
Okay. And then what kind of spell casting do you plan on doing?
It's a good question. I didn't realize there were different. What?
There are different ways to play a druid. You can play a druid as a battlefield controller. You can play a druid as a healer. You can play a druid as a... I don't really think party buff works as well as it used to. I think you get a few things that are okay helping out the party from a buff perspective.
Yeah, I've never played druid.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm often not a big proponent of it, but that's just my own personal kind of.
But yeah, I think I mean, of course, there's the melee fighting version, which is not going to be that that class because its wild shape is pushed to 6 or whatever.
Yep. So let's see.
I can summon things?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be the battlefield control.
Yeah, you summon, you call out animals and have them get into combat.
It looks like that with the face speaker that I get sort of an enhanced shape-shifting thing. So maybe instead of being a healer, I should be melee?
Yeah, if you do that, like I said, I'll gladly go witch and have plenty of healing. And then you guys will have the secondary smaller amount of healing or whatever if necessary.
Yeah.
So you think I should go with like battlefield control then?
So we got 3 druids. Is that what's going on so far?
Yeah, battlefield control might not be a bad idea then. To wild shape.
Yeah, summoning druid. I mean, that's good. It's powerful.
Now the Fey Speaker gets a diminished wild shape because you get it at 6th level, and all your benefits related to wild shape are 2 druid level later than all their classes.
Oh, okay.
Because what you're trading is getting enchantment and illusion spells at 4th, 6th, 8th, etc.
Oh, okay. I see. I must have read that wrong.
It's easy to misread because it's not well ordered in the sentence.
On a very serious note, are you allowing any of the geographic designates on elves? Like if I wanted to be like snow, or does that matter to you at all?
Yeah, you can make whatever changes you want that are, as long as they're first party changes. I have no problem with that.
Okay. Julia?
Oh yeah. Also, I don't know if you guys saw, but there's also for druids, for their whatchamacallit, first level ability, the nature bond. They released the herbalism alternate thing. Where you create a bunch of free potions every day instead of getting the domains or the animal companion.
Yeah, I see that here in the druid description.
Yeah, like that's like way better than those other 2 options in my opinion, unless you're trying to do something specific. Because it's like, hey, here's free healing potions every day.
Well, you lose your animal companion to do that, so that could be a downside. Dependent.
Yeah, it could. Like I said, it depends on what you're trying to do with it. But
at higher level,
me personally.
I mean, at higher level though. I mean, let's look at conscripted. How often are people using potions?
Well, you would use it outside of combat.
Yeah, but you're making potions per day equal to your wisdom modifier.
Yeah, so I'm gonna drink these serious cure wounds before combat, heal up. I mean, sounds good to me.
Also, you're assuming I'll have a good wisdom score.
Well, I mean,
if you're playing a wisdom-based caster,
you
need to have a high wisdom score.
Wait, is this a wisdom-based caster?
A druid is a wisdom-based caster.
Oh, I finally get to have a decent wisdom?
If you're playing a druid, yes.
Oh my gosh. I might actually be able to see things.
Not unless you put ranks in perception.
You're saying I'm still gonna roll horribly?
Probably.
I wouldn't be surprised. So is there any animal companions that we, can't have?
No dinosaurs or sea creatures. Dinosaurs did not exist in this world, and so therefore there are not dinosaurs.
Sad velociraptor noises.
Yes.
A drake.
Alright. Whitney, are you still playing an elf?
There's a feat you can take to get some of those advanced drakes. You could get like a stained glass drake. They're pretty awesome.
I don't want Drake in my game. Music is bad. You should feel bad.
One of the only times I've ever laughed at Pete Davidson last night was his Drake song, which to me was perfect because it sounded like every Drake song.
I'm also considering orc or half orc.
Orc would be fun. I want to see somebody finally play a full-blooded orc.
What would be fun about that?
Just because nobody's done it. I've offered it for so long, but everybody's like, oh, you have to take a -2 to all your mental stats.
Who cares?
Well, I mean, you need spellcasting, but as an orc, like being a blood rager, it's not as big a thing. Because as a blood rager, most of your spells are going to target yourself. But you do get the big old +4 to strength. But you would have to get your charisma or something else up to a 15. So that means you have to spend the equivalent of a 17 to do that.
Out of how many?
Out of 20 points. Or, well, so you have 20 points to spend. Buying a 17 costs like 12 of those points. So it would be a bit of a trade-off.
What's a stag?
It's like a larger form of deer.
Was Harry Potter's Patronus?
Yes, Harry Potter's Patronus is a stag.
It's listed as a small?
Yeah, you get it as like a younger stag, and then over time it grows into a full-size one. All the animal companions will start with, except like wolf and a couple of others, start off substantially smaller.
I wouldn't want an animal companion because then they could die.
Yeah, I don't like the hassle of animal companions either.
They not only can die.
So, yeah.
I had an entire party with animal companions at Gen Con, and they kept putting them in combat, and they kept getting hit, and one of the players was starting to cry, and I almost said, why do you keep putting them in combat? If you really like the wolf, you shouldn't have it attack orcs.
No. If you really like the wolf, why isn't it wearing full plate?
Oh, a wolf with barding?
Yep.
I love it.
That's what I ran when I was doing that Rougarou character. It was going to be me in armor and the wolf in armor.
You know, nobody took up that Tengu with axe beak that we were all getting the certificate for. Do you remember that thing?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to be a tower elf, and I'm going to be an arcanist.
Okay.
Way down.
Michelle, do you think you're likely to play Hobgoblin again?
Yeah, I'm playing a Hobgoblin again. All I knew starting this was I definitely wasn't playing a human. What, you got a problem with me not playing human?
Gotta try something different every once in a while.
I was a half-orc the first time.
So now you can, if you do choose to go, so one of the options you can choose is to also focus on your animal companion. And if you do that, there are druid spells that allow you to bolster your animal companion in a number of ways. So that is another option. Battlefield controller would take things like Entangle, using summoned nature's allies to control things, or summon minor allies to like get in the way of spellcasters. There's a thing. Did you not get this until 2nd level? Okay. Yeah, Barkskin is 2nd level. Okay. A lot of the stuff that is party buff stuff looks like it comes at 2nd level. But if you went party buffing, you could later on get the dex enhancement stuff. You could get Barkskin to give your teammates increased AC. Give them a deflection bonus. Like you can basically make one of your allies or your animal companion harder to hit.
Yeah, I mean, if you focus on buffing and animal companion, I mean that's a good combo.
Yeah. So one of you could go the animal companion route, and the other one could go the battlefield controller route, or... I mean, there's so many different ways that this could go. Or multiple people could go the animal companion route. The two of you could be sisters, but Michelle's character's already been reincarnated before, and that's why she's different.
We just were adopted by other druids, and it doesn't matter about biology, we're still sisters.
That's too hippie for my blood. We're sisters in nature.
I think we will need to have a session where we make vision boards.
No.
How fast are stags?
It should say. Does it not?
I don't see a speed.
Naturally, a stag's movement speed is 50. But let me look on the Druid's Animal Companion sheet. And look at some of how this works.
Do orcs have to be assholes?
Nope. There is nothing implicit about personality.
I mean, it says bullies by nature. In the
Don't
description.
bother to read the description of what the classes are like, aside from what they look like. Personality has changed a lot in this world because a lot of things are more progressive.
So then, what should I consider when I'm deciding what?
Whatever
race?
you want. You can be whatever you want. Consider in the way my society is put together. If we were going to compare it to like an American stereotypical like race, you would probably want to put orcs in line with somewhere around the area of like Italians or Greeks. They're like not necessarily officially white per se, but they sit on that kind of, you are an outsider but you're not really. What?
So what you want to do is you want to just want to scrap any of those race options and go with human in order to get the free feat and the +2 to the stat of your choice.
So I think your orc should be a combination of Greek and Italian. His name should be Giovanni Constantopoulos, and talk with your hands all the time.
See, I'd only been looking at elf names, and now I have to start all over.
You can also do it as more of a Russian style as well.
I mean, give your orc an elf name. I think that you can do that.
You can, technically.
There's nothing stopping it.
I didn't love the elf names either.
But I wouldn't use those names for that. If I was going to do a name that was going to be an elf name, I would either use some form of Greek name that is a little more, probably more like Ukrainian name or Russian name, more so than Greek or Italian, because I feel like those naming conventions fit well. But then you add a apostrophe in between like certain consonant linkages. Or you can just string together some sounds and hyphenate, or not hyphenate, but apostrophize that. Apostrophize!
I think you should be a one-named orc, like the Madonna of orcs. Orc Donna.
Most orcs are one-named. Oh, that is so weird. It actually does not put the speed of the stag on here. It puts speed on every other animal.
It's suggesting
Stags are
furbog.
just stationary.
Furbog!
No.
Stags are apparently wholly stationary now.
No, it movement speed of 50
Stags are move
feet.
at the speed of light.
Surrender now or prepare to fight?
Yeah.
Meow. That's right.
I choose you, stag.
Is anything allowed to be a reference?
What?
Can I name my stag after something as a reference?
Why would you want to do that?
No reason.
Where's the originality?
That is true.
Do you just want to be a carbon copy of something else? Because if you'd like to do that, there
oh
are
my
forums
god,
for
let
that.
it go.
What? There's a time and a place to be a copy of something else if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, you were suggesting it could be this game.
What was I suggesting?
So my Arcanist
Pax.
name is Drizzt
I was saying it should be
Duorden,
the same thing. Nope.
and Wolfgar Burnhammer.
I'm gonna use the same bullet that killed JFK to swing back through time and get you too.
So my witch is named Spinksara, and I talk to ghosts.
I think your stag's name should be Wobbuffet, and I think that's how it sounds when it makes any noise. It's just a loud Wobbuffet.
Ugh.
20-point buy, Steve. Standard PFS.
20-point buy, standard PFS.
Are we supposed to be doing something now other than thinking about names?
Yeah, because I'm placing my stats.
There is a Pathfinder stat calculator that exists that I can post up for people.
Don't forget the requirements for your stats.
Yep.
Of 15 in a caster stat.
I'm going to post up this temporarily.
15 or higher.
And this is the stat calculator. That link will take you to it.
I have to figure out a name first.
You don't. The name is like the last thing you need.
No.
Names are very
Matters.
important.
Okay, then what's your character's name?
I'm still going through and trying to figure that out.
Got him.
But yeah, so Jessica, like what are you gonna end up going with? Like, are you doing the animal companion route, or were you?
I probably will do Animal Companion because mine is a charisma caster, so I'm not going to probably have a whole lot of wisdom.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so then I'll do the healing and battlefield control witch.
Okay, that sounds good.
Oh, that wasn't my Discord. Okay.
No, that was a private message that was coming through for me.
It's just weird that I could hear it. That's like, I'm not echoing, but the Discord message is audible over the headset. All right, I'm gonna find a different song to play in the background. What do you guys think of that particular track, by the way?
It's still
I
not
forgot
playing
it
for
was
me.
there.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Check your volume and make sure it's even.
Yeah, master music volume is all the way on max. Let's
Weird.
see. Is there like an enable music that I have on somewhere?
I would also check your. It could be your browser settings. Your browser might not be allowing.
Actually, it
audio.
might be my headset. Okay, it's not my headset because my headset has this like slider thing where you can slide it all the way to only hear chat and all the way to only hear a game. I was wondering, but no, it's in the middle, so I can hear both.
No, it's probably the browser audio settings. Are you using Chrome or Firefox?
Firefox.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, you have blocked autoplay media with sound for this website. It says.
Yep, you can
I have
change
no idea
that
how
setting.
I would undo that.
It does that automatically because they think that's really useful for you.
Oh, here it goes. Yeah, allow audio and video. So should the music be playing right now?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll try reloading it now that I have
Yep.
that changed. All right, yep, I hear it now.
Cool.
So
I'm
yeah,
gonna
my browser was just blocking it. Sounds
I'm going
good.
to change this now, though we're going to go to a different track. Some of these I don't even remember.
We're supposed to click High Fantasy 20.
Yes, that would be correct. And then you can see in the bottom, there's like the number 20, and as you change your stats, it will change that number.
It doesn't let me select Orc.
No, you'll have to put other in there for now. And then you'll set your racial trait number to be 4 for strength, and then -2 for int, wisdom, and charisma.
All right, so Steve, for this witch's patron,
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking decadence.
Hold on, let me take a look at that. Get to which page?
Because I kind of want to play like this hedonistic character. I was thinking maybe worshiping that most recent god from the conscripted game.
Well, if you're a witch, you wouldn't worship a god.
Okay, well, there
well,
you have
sort
the
of.
requirement.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can
we
you can
worship.
have. Yeah. I'm sorry. You can, but I mean, like, your power doesn't come from that god.
Yeah.
Okay. That was what I was trying to say, and then I realized, like, wait, I missaid that in the speech. Where are the list of witch patrons? God damn it.
I don't know, but this one's from the Horror Adventures.
Which one did you say it was again?
Decadence.
Okay. I think I can work with that.
All right, cool. Yeah. Like I said, I really wanted to play like a hedonistic character,
Mm-hmm.
and I figured decadence would be really good for that.
And you're a human, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's play the next one. Part of why I'm playing these are I don't remember what they are. I'm in a very heavy music download phase.
We're not doing breaks or anything for this, right?
Nope. If you want to run and do something,
Okay.
go ahead.
Yeah, I want to refill this water.
Go for it.
So we have to have at least a 15 in what?
In one of your either your intel, wisdom, or charisma. And you can bring these numbers below 10 to get yourself some extra points back. Down to as low as a 7. And I'm going to step away for just a moment.
You gonna talk to Sam?
Okay, so everybody, switch your classes to things from the occult book. Now that Steve is not here. And especially the one with the halfling child, because that one is a lot of paperwork and explosive, and it would be hard for Steve. But you didn't hear that from me. So we got a bunch of nature people. So because none of my elf stuff is going to be remotely naturey, so I will not be able to do any of the traditional elf things like pass without a trace, talk to animals. I have none of that thing. So if we're ever getting to a point where you guys will depend on my elf stuff, we will be pretty not useful. I'll be pretty not useful.
Just don't ask
So-
me to carry things. Because I
So.
apparently am no longer able to carry things.
I'm about to have a 7 strength myself, so.
Oh, yeah.
That's what a stag is for, Michelle. A stag is just a pack animal with big horns. You know what I mean? I
So
can't wait till
apparently
you're
I'm gonna
riding
have
that
to
thing.
carry all of y'all. Ugh.
I mean, you didn't have to carry me, but if you want to carry me, then I don't have to walk.
You can ride your stag.
Yeah, I'm trying to get this 20 intelligence, so in order to get that, I need to have a 7 strength and a 7 charisma.
Is there anyone who's specifically going for, like, knowledges?
Probably not me. Maybe some
Knowledges and
knowledge.
spells.
No, I mean, it'd be useful if somebody has a bunch of knowledges, though, if that's what you're thinking about doing, Michelle.
Yeah.
I was planning on putting a point in all the knowledges I possibly could.
Okay.
I'll
As-
let you guys know which ones I end up picking.
As a druid, that might be a little rough unless you intend to cross over your stats. Because you're wisdom based, and wisdom
Well,
keeps you at a
it
limited
sounded
number.
like Michelle had her stats done. Or was it
I'm-
just strength that you had done?
I know I want a high wisdom and a low strength. So, I know those two for sure. I'm just trying to work out, like,
and a low
what else
dex,
I'd
and a low
need.
con, and a low everything.
well, technically I can take my con down by 2 because I already get a +2 from my racial trait. So it'll still be, like, at a 10.
Yeah, I'm doing a 7 strength and a 7 charisma so that I can get this 20 intel.
So where are you at, Whitney, on stats?
Um,
How are you feeling about what you're looking at?
so far I have a 16 in strength, 12 dexterity, 13 con, 8 intelligence, 15 wisdom, and 8 charisma.
I want to bring that charisma down one more for the extra 2 points, and then move it into strength.
How
It would
many
give
flaws
me-
can I take?
You can take two traits, 2 flaws.
Well, yeah, so 4 traits and
You'll
2
get
flaws.
4 total traits total. But the phrasing is 2 traits, 2 flaws, because each flaw gives you a trait.
Yep. And I'm trying to
so
remember.
my flaw secretly wishes he was a cult. Does that give me anything?
No.
Oh.
None of the traits are banned, right?
Not that I can think of, no.
Ooh, can I have rich parents? Because that would work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, I wanted rich parents also.
Rich parents has been a pretty frequently taken thing. There's another variant of rich parents as well.
Yeah, it was like a better one, but I think that rich parents would fit my character more.
Boy, Tom, we could be two guys that are just like wealthing around the town. I don't know. What do you peons drink?
Well, I mean, that's how you got into the college.
Some of
Yeah,
us
I
have
know.
rich parents. Some of us got in on scholarship.
Yeah.
Some of you just came in and were like, this college should be free.
Some of us made videos in hot tubs as to why they should let us in, and they were like, "Okay, whatever, we'll let her in."
No, I didn't, and I was looking at my phone as if my phone was suddenly going to light up with it. Sorry.
What did you say you were looking at on your stats, Whitney? You said 15 for your strength or 16 for your strength?
Total will be 16 for strength.
That's after your racial modifier?
Yeah, is that not enough?
It's okay. It's very low for a
Really?
melee fighter. Well, if you're getting the +4 to your strength, that means that you only kicked it up by 2.
I kicked it by 1.
Right,
Oh,
by
2.
mod bonus of 1. Right.
And
So
we're
what
first
is-
level, huh?
What is less important then?
Wait, hold on. So you're playing. Hold on. So Blood Rager's important because your charisma should be your casting stat.
Oh, not wisdom?
Yeah, Blood Rager is charisma.
Oh. Okay. How am I supposed to know that?
You would look at the class. And it would also help if the GM told you when he was suggesting things. But Blood Ragers use charisma as their spellcasting stat.
Well, I didn't really want to do charisma as high again, but oh well.
You don't have to. You could play a different thing. If you played the Magus, your intel would be the high stat.
No, I mean I didn't want intel, I wanted wisdom.
Okay.
But I don't really feel like.
Well, then in that case, you play War Priest.
No, I'll stick with Blood Rager. It's fine.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay.
Just giving y'all a heads up that strong storm I mentioned is starting to move in, so
Okay.
just might lose me all of a sudden.
Hopefully not.
That's what I'm hoping for. I don't want to lose power.
Where do you live?
I live in Tennessee, very close to Chattanooga.
Okay.
From what I'm looking at, Winnie, you've only used 10 points. If you have a 16, 12, 13, 6, 6. Oh no, you kept them as 8s.
What are you looking at?
I'm rolling up the same thing. I'm like trying to. You told me what your stats were.
Yeah, it says I have 0 points left.
Repeat your stats.
Hold on, I'm gonna change them. So, okay, out of dexterity and constitution, which is more important?
Con, because that's how many hits you can take. Dexterity, by changing that, you're only going to change your AC by 1 for each point of modifier you have.
So is it better to put more still towards strengths than towards con?
Yes, because ideally you want to knock things down faster than you want to be knocked down by things. But you could also choose. So hold on. Let's talk about some stuff about Blood Rager real quick to help you out a little bit with where you can go with this. So, there's a part of Blood Rager I want to make sure of.
Okay. Well, I redid it, so let me know when you want me to tell you again.
So the Blood Rager can only use up to medium-size armor. So that means the best armor that you can have is breastplate. And if you have breastplate, you still can get an armor bonus. So you could try to make sure that you're as hard to hit as possible instead of having a lot of hit points. So it can go technically either way. When you use your Blood Rage, you're going to get... Blood Rager you're going to get a +4 to your strength and constitution naturally. But you automatically take a -2 to your armor. To your armor class. So you're going to be easier to hit while you're raged.
All right, so I should definitely take Warded Against Nature to really annoy both of the druids in the party,
Yeah, so
right?
they can't heal you at all.
Well, no, it's just their animal companions can't come within 30 feet of me. Well, I'm not actually going to get it, but
what I would, so if you're gonna go ahead.
So right now I'm at a 19 strength, 10 dexterity, 12 con, 6 intelligence, 8 wisdom, and 15 charisma.
If you go with the 19, you don't get any added benefit until next level for being a 20, because all your bonuses happen on even numbers. So that's fine if you don't mind waiting till 4th level to get up to a 20.
So I should be a 20 now, is what you're saying.
You don't have to. It's an option. An option is to leave a number open so that at the 4th level you jump up to the next category. I tend to play lower when I play a raging style class. I tend to play lower on the wisdom and the intel personally, but that is not how everybody prefers to play it. But the other problem is you have to counterbalance for the -2 to those stats as well.
How low can you go on things?
With your negatives, you can go down as low as a 5. The stat will only allow you to go down to a 7.
Man, I don't like any of these combinations.
Well, then maybe playing an orc might not work.
No, this is what I'm playing. Just deal with it. Figure out a way for me to make it work. Just 5 and 6 in wisdom seems terrible.
Especially for somebody who's at a college.
I'm not at a college, dude.
That's what this is. You're starting off in a university.
She has a sports scholarship.
all right, I think for my drawbacks, I'm going to take Condescending and Hedonistic.
Makes sense. Sounds like you're definitely going to be chaotic neutral.
Yeah. Well, I'm a witch. I can't be good, right? I think.
I don't remember. I think you actually can, but I honestly don't remember.
I thought we all had to be some sort of good alignment.
No, it is
chaotic neutral.
Neutral good, chaotic good, or chaotic neutral, because you're going to Shishat's university.
Oh,
So
Only
it is
if
based
you-
around the Shishat University. Or
If you're a good witch, then you have to walk around with like wands, and you know what I mean. You got to wear like those weird white hats and stuff like that.
the sparkly shoes.
Glinda
Yeah.
the Good Witch.
I think I might have figured out my stats, maybe.
So Whitney, you could go with a 21 in your strength and a 5 in your int and wisdom.
No, that seems terrible.
It only makes you 3 points above an animal.
What's the difference again between a 19 and a 20 for strength? Like,
So on a 19 strength, you deal 4 additional points of damage with every attack. On a 20, you deal 5 additional points of damage. And it depends on whether you're using a two-handed weapon or a one-handed weapon. If it's a two-handed weapon, it's instead, you would add an additional 2 to each of those. Because every time you hit an even number, your damage value goes up by 1, and your attack value goes up by 1.
they're making this hard.
I mean, the idea is you're building a character that's going to feel like it has strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, but your 15 requirement is challenging.
I know. It's like I wanted people to be challenged during the character design process.
I already have
to
enough
build
challenges in my
dynamic
life,
characters.
like living with you.
Just put 7 and
Does
2
this look
random stats
decent?
like I did.
My feelings are hurt for Steve.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you. Yes, Michelle, those stats look very good.
Okay.
I love how you made it so you could use your dex and your con as a dump, and then like my race will fix this problem.
So Steve, I got 10 strength, 12 dex, 12 con, 16 intelligence, 10 wisdom, 16 charisma.
Ooh, interesting balance. Are they
I
both
still have
int and
Wizard
charisma
ones, but-
based?
What's that?
Are they both int and charisma based?
I believe so.
I forget how they work as a class because they were also very weird.
I'm having a hard time reading this very small print on this tiny book that I bought that I love a lot.
No, they're in int casting class. All your saves are going to be int based.
Oh.
Is there something that
What do
is
we-
charisma based about them? Oh yeah, so your exploits are based on your charisma. So they are. It is a combination of the two stats.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Michelle? I think Michelle just crashed. Since I don't think she'd be holding her hair like that long. All right, there you go. What were you saying, Michelle? You got to just, when other people start talking, you got to keep talking. Just talk right over them.
Yep, I agree. That is how you
What
do
do we
it.
do after we get the stats?
So once you plug your stats in your character sheet, and then go to your class and start filling in the stuff for your class. Ooh, John, thank you for the 6 months in a row.
Yeah, I'm punching everything into a text document, then I'm gonna put it in my character sheet, so that might be easier for you too.
Yeah,
But
John.
definitely easier for me.
John would like to remind everybody, by the way, that he himself had to deal with a 13 strength requirement while building a spellcaster, and that was 13. This is 15, and Whitney's over here building the melee caster. I think she's got it tougher than you, John.
Do I use the character mancer?
No, the character mancer is horribly broken.
So you edit the sheet directly?
Yeah, I would edit the sheet directly.
All right, so Steve, will you allow this archetype only with my patrons so that I could have a treasure hoard instead of a familiar?
This sounds like some third-party bullshit.
No, that's all it does. I don't understand. I just think it's hilarious that you have a treasure hoard instead of a familiar. It's actually worse because if it drops below a value, you can't do anything with it. It's like a drawback, and there's no benefit.
It's terrible.
Oh man, I just thought it was super hilarious. And if you see some sort of benefit to that, let me know because I don't. I only see drawbacks, but it's so hilarious.
This is one of those very clearly flavor things.
What level do we start at?
You start at level 1.
Okay.
You get your magic ability too from it because it replaces your familiar.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You should let me have a treasure hoard instead of familiar.
I mean, you know I'm just going to punish you with this, right? I'm literally going to take things away from you. A witch can add a spell to his hoard from a wizard's spellbook. If the spellbook is kept in the wizard hoard. Yes.
Okay, so you can cast wizard spells, so that actually is a pretty significant benefit. Okay.
The witch must sleep on the spellbook in his hoard for a number of days equal to the spell's level. After which she must succeed a spellcraft check. This is ridiculous. I'm not going to allow this, but this is ridiculous.
I'll just make my own treasure hoard anyway.
I mean, you wouldn't be the first character doing that.
It won't grant me powers, but...
Let me get some more music going. I got more tunes than this. And the dead silence is painful. So painful, I'm alone with my thoughts. It's almost as bad as when Whitney has to be alone with me and endure me for several hours.
More like be stuck in quarantine with you for weeks now.
Yep. Boy, I'm glad she loves me, right? This is what love is.
Yep.
Come on, track, load up. Load up. Load up. And a game. Whoa. I don't like this track. That crackling noise is gonna drive me insane. That track's gotta go. Goodbye, track. Don't come back. Why was that crackly? I preferred this version of, because they do the exact same, almost the exact same track, but with a better sound. In the middle, it happens. Slightly better. But I've already heard this, so we're not playing that. I'm only playing ones I haven't heard yet. This is an interesting pattern.
Why won't it let me edit the class?
You go to the which color are you? You go to the configuration, and you put that in the class 1 column. That's kind of creepy. It's like Saw music right here. Alright, let's turn off Saw.
What size is an orc? Just large? Can I be colossal?
They're size medium. No, you
What?
cannot be colossal. Yeah, they're considered.
They're size medium?
Yeah.
What is size large?
Things that are large are 10 feet tall.
How can I
not
be
just
that?
7 feet tall. You'd have to be an ogre.
And what the fuck is colossal then?
Colossal is 20 feet tall.
So you're telling me orcs are the same size category as hobgoblins?
Orcs, yes. Because they're all within. So like the base height for an orc male is a maximum of 7 foot 1 inches. A hobgoblin is like 4'3" on average.
Wait, how tall is an orc?
Topping out at like 7 feet. I'll even let you go as high as 8 feet.
And that doesn't put me at large.
No, you need to be at least 9.5 feet tall to be an orc, or to be a large creature.
That is really dumb. I picked an orc to be large, and I don't even.
You are still large. What is your strength score?
20.
Yeah, you are large. You are like the definition of large. You got 24-inch pythons, brother.
So you said the tallest I can be is 7 feet?
I will let you be as tall as 8 feet.
So when we're inputting our character stats, are we putting in the actual points or the points that we manipulated in
You
the
should be putting your
calculator?
final values into this. Well, you can do it 2 ways. You can put on the racial page your racial stats, and then put in your pre-manipulation stats. So if you go to the race ability modifiers, you can type it in there, and then on the main you can just throw in your stats, or you can just put in the stats as your final result is. I don't care which way you do it as long as it's accurate.
Okay.
I know for me personally, I hate doing the racial modifiers page. I just prefer to have the raw stats on the page. But some people like that separation.
Okay.
Well, I should go with our old school trait combo of rich parents and finding Helene.
Yeah. Everybody.
I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to do it.
Well, I've basically been giving Finding Helene to people, so you can ignore having to take Finding Helene. Everybody can take the HP and skill point for this game.
All right.
As long as it's with whatever your primary class is.
Sounds good. I plan on going straight witch.
Straight witch.
Yep.
So you're going to be a cis male straight witch?
Yep.
Okay. Whitney's character's bald. 7'11". Nice height. So young.
We don't have to have a deity, right?
You do have to have a deity that you follow.
That's annoying.
Why?
I already told you this. I didn't want to have another requirement, and I don't like the requirement.
It's so minor.
You're so minor.
No,
You're
Good
only
night.
17.
I'm
Good night.
36.
Thank you for your help, both of you. All right. Love you too.
Oh, I love you too, Charles.
I mean, could you theoretically have a deity, but like, you say that you follow this deity, but you don't. As long as you don't get your power from them, then it's like you don't have to be.
So, following a deity doesn't. I mean, okay, let's think about this, right? How many people say that they're Christian, and then like they think that the Bible tells them that you shouldn't have tattoos? Like, Jesus doesn't say anything about that. Jesus says, stop all that shit. All the shit from the Old Testament doesn't exist.
But that's where all the good tattoos are at, just to be fair.
In the Old Testament?
Yeah. That's when people got the good tattoos. You know what I mean?
So,
Yes.
Steve, you said it doesn't matter how we put in our... What's the easier way to put in our...
To just put them in the stats,
And
page.
not
Not bother
put a
with the racial
modifier?
part. Yeah. So you just put in the total score in each of those stats. And then the modifier will populate automatically.
So I put in the actual points?
You put in whatever your actual score is. So you have that right for the strength. You put in your strength as the 20, and then you put in your dex as whatever, etc. I do really like this track. I'm really glad I got
We're
this
gonna
one.
have roll 20, and roll 20 is gonna cooperate with me.
It would be really nice if that happened.
Now what?
So then from there, the next step is going to your. What's the easiest next step?
How do I have a character called Yuho Lilogia?
Because it automatically generates a name for you.
Yeah, and that name is Fire.
Well, yeah. All right. So the next thing you want to do is populate the stuff from your class. So if you go to that D20 PFSRD, and then you go to the alternate class or the hybrid class for the Blood Rager.
Uh-huh.
What kind of weapon do you think you'll want to fight with?
I don't know shit about weapons.
So I think let's maybe go there. Let's think about weapons. So in the search box, type in weapon. And then the first thing that you get there should be weapons, and this will take you to the long list of weapons that are available.
Oh, God.
We're going to skip down through some of this stuff. The first question, and that's pretty easy that I'll have for you, is do you want to fight with one big weapon, or one item in one hand, or one weapon in one hand and a shield in the other hand?
And I can change this later?
It's usually a good idea to pick one and stick with it before we start the game. But you can make a decision, look at what the weapons are that are available for that, and then change your mind.
I guess one big weapon.
Okay. So if you go with one big weapon, scroll down to martial two-hand melee weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And so there, There are a
Are
number of...
things that all of the names are unfamiliar except for hammer.
And sword, and great axe. There's axe.
Horse chopper? Like, what the fuck is this?
That's a
goblin weapon.
Yeah.
So a lot of what you want to do here is, if you just want to hit things for the most damage possible, then you want to pick something like either a greatsword or the Earthbreaker, or like a falchion, because it gets a high range of critical. It can crit on a 18 to 20.
I think I want to do shield instead.
Okay, so then scroll up a little ways to martial one-hand weapons.
Mm-hmm. So what should I be looking at in their stats?
This is really just about damage values again. I am personally a big fan of the Gandasa, which is like a big... if you Google it, you can see examples of it.
It's weird that they don't have a picture when you open the page.
Yeah. But it's like there's like a bunch of different pictures of it, which I think is weird.
Just looks like an axe.
It is sort of axe-like, yes.
Also, there was a movie from 1991 with a 5.7 IMDb rating.
Yes. But that's 2d4, which is a good amount of damage on average, and times 3 critical. But if you want to crit more often, you could do something like a scimitar or a cutlass. And crits are another way to potentially get more damage overall.
I mean, a scimitar does look pretty cool.
Yep. I am a slightly bigger fan of the cutlass, but I think they are both fun weapons to use. The cutlass has that nice little piratey look to it, but the scimitar has that more...
I was the one who went for the aesthetics.
Everybody goes for aesthetics sometimes.
Everybody sometimes.
Everybody sometimes.
Everybody.
I'm double checking something about the... So if you use a shield, though, there is a chance that you can have your spells fail if a spell uses somatic components. So if a spell requires you to use your hands, then you could have the spell fail if you're carrying a shield.
So I should probably go with the two-handed weapon.
It's sort of up to you. You could try to plan your spells around not using somatic components, or take a feat that would get you out of the way of having to use somatic components. But that can sometimes be really annoying. I'm real quick just going to look at some of the spells to see if that's really even a big deal. Oh, actually, we have a problem.
What's that?
I fucked up. The Blood Rager does not actually get first level spells at first level.
So I can't be a Blood Rager.
God damn it. Hold on. I'm double checking to see if there's a class variant that lets you. Otherwise, I'm super sorry.
Otherwise, you're saying I should actually not be in the game because this is a lot of work.
I mean, if that's your choice, that's your choice. I'm not going to force you into the game. But no, there is not a variant that gets... I did not realize that the Blood Rager does not get spells until 4th level. That sucks. Then yes, unfortunately that was partially wasted time. You can just switch up your Charisma with Int and go Magus. Or you could switch it up with Wisdom and go War Priest.
Now I have to go back and read about those.
Okay.
Damn, dude, I was excited about that.
I was excited about it too. I'm really annoyed that I did not... I mean, I've never played a Blood Rager before. So I did not realize they were 4th level till casting.
So I can't just join at the point that the character would be a 4th level?
No.
Oh, but I want to be a Blood Rager. It sounds so angry. Ooh, I don't want to be a war priest.
No.
That's too religious.
I mean, you have to follow a god, though, in this game.
Yeah, but you don't have to follow it closely.
Okay. God, Whitney trying to opt out of the religion as fast as possible.
You know, if I wanted a god, I'd be a cleric.
Well, you have to worship a god, Charles.
I'm not worried. I'll worship a god.
People voted on it.
So, do druids need, like, weapons?
Some druids might want to carry a weapon. You don't necessarily have to carry a weapon.
Does it even make sense to be an orc if I can't be a blood rager?
If you went Magus, it would still be a strength bonus, but it does change the feel of it. You could also be a Skald. And then you get rage, and you get spells, and you get to sing songs and have a high charisma. And
Dude, it's not as good of a name.
What's the key feature that allows you to search terms?
Huh? What do you mean?
The keys you hit that allows you to search terms in Google.
Control F is what I do.
Oh.
And then you can just type for words. I'm sorry, Whitney.
I don't really like the sound of Skald.
Okay. Just because of its name?
No. Poets, historians, and keepers of lore?
Okay, you don't have to, like, take the description here. The problem I have with descriptions in this game is they are not the guidelines by which you must play your character. They are a suggested reason for why they put the character together the way they did. However, a Skald would be the kind of person that wants to engage in battle head on and like tell stories about the conquests of battle that they and their party have accomplished. So they would roam around fighting as many foes as they can, overcoming the obstacles that are set before them, and then telling the tale of how their team did a great job doing so. And
yeah, I don't want to be a storyteller, though.
You don't have to be. I'm just giving that as an example.
So what race would go well with a Magus?
Well, you could...
Human. Free feet.
You could go back to being an elf as well. You get a bonus to Dex and a bonus to Int, I believe, as an elf. Look at that sadness hit when I say elf. When just a little while ago, she was all about playing an elf.
I know.
Well, we have so many elves, it seems boring.
That's not how this works.
That's how I work.
Listen, this company is not looking for a diversity quota to be achieved.
I want to be an orc.
My elf is not one of you dirty field hippies, so I don't know what you're talking about. We take bats.
So what's next for what I need?
Have you done your skills and feats and...
Would it be better to pick the skills and then get like feats and traits? Or
it's probably best to pick traits first, and then that will help you decide what your skills are going to be.
Okay.
So Whitney, you could still play an orc and play a magus, and that would be fine. You just move your charisma to where your int is. And you're basically playing the same thing, you're just not raging.
And then you get to be smart.
I want to be raging.
Okay, then give me a sec. Hold on. Let me check something about...
I'm raging here just hearing about this.
Charles, you're raging for different reasons. You're raging because she's talking bad about elves.
I don't care about elves at all.
Uh-huh. Charles says that now, but now later tonight, he'll be crying. Especially because he'll find out what you really feel about gnomes.
Oh, good God. Don't even talk bad about gnomes.
Dude,
Best
Meg
race
was
ever.
my bestie.
I know.
I loved Meg.
Meg was awesome.
I was sad when Meg was replaced.
By her angry great-grandfather?
Yeah, who forgot about his spell. Or his wand.
Meg
wouldn't have done that.
I know. Meg would have been all about the healing.
Long live Meg.
And that's my goal with my new character, is to resurrect Meg.
Good, we're resurrecting Megs and avenging Pax.
Yes.
See, even I can be a Magus.
Hold on. I might have found what I'm looking for.
All right, Bonner.
Okay, so... Oh, no, that's third party.
Wow, listen to that rejection of that hard work that third-party people do.
It was Right Publishing, Charles.
Those
They got
guys are
some
the
good
best
shit.
third party, though.
Yeah, I love Right.
No, you don't, Charles. Quit trying to sell out.
I think you should only look for shit from Dreamscarred Press. That's real psionics there. They don't even bother renaming it. It is the exact same as the other psionics. I don't know how they didn't get sued.
So you could multi-class at next level and get raging if you really wanted to. But then you would not be able to cast spells while you're raging.
I don't really understand what multi-classing is.
It's taking a level of another class for your next level up.
It's okay, can I offer this? If you're not really interested in doing a lot of paperwork, multi-classing may not be the thing for you, because multi-classing, even in the best of circumstances, like I have a fighter rogue and I find it taxing to do the fighter rogue, and you've seen my character sheets. My character sheets are pages and pages. So I prefer to keep it kind of simple, one class at a time. So, and then maybe move into an archetype that gives you sort of what you want. So is there an archetype in Magus that is...
Well, I mean, bear in mind she's very new to this, so some of what you're saying is just like going way overhead.
So should I go?
Is
Now,
it?
when
Good to know.
we're talking about the
thanks.
Gygax Arneson axiom of character design, you want to know where you fall out on there, and then design appropriately for the play style based with the game.
Great, let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, guys. So I'm trying to think of a appropriate name for my guy who's a spoiled rich kid. So I'm thinking Trent Shade. Does that sound good, guys? Does that sound enough spoiled and rich?
God, that sounds
You need
totally
to add a
made
third
up.
after it. You need to add a third after it.
Trent
think
Shade.
more-
Go ahead.
Percy. Put like his middle name is like, or Percival Trent Shade or something. Just like the third.
Yeah, Percival Trent Shade or Trent Percival Shade.
No,
the
I
third.
feel like Percival is his real name, but Trent Shade is like his Instagram
that's
handle.
So good. Oh, that's so good. Percival, quotation marks, Trent
Yeah.
Shade the third. Like Charles Kittredge Thompson the third, who goes by Frank Black, because that name is just too much.
I like it. I'm gonna do that. His real name's Percival, but he goes by Trent Shade.
That's so awesome.
Good
Percival?
suggestion. Good suggestion.
Do you mean Trent? No, I said Percival. There's no Percival here. I feel like it's, you could do it out of like Key and Peele. Perceval. Man, look at all these knowledges I get. Look at this utter lack of skill points. This is depressing.
What do I need to change now?
For
Okay.
stats, you would just move your charisma to your int. That's it. Or you could go entirely dexterity for Magus and focus on that route, which is really, really powerful.
Dexterity instead of strength, or
Yeah,
dexterity
instead of
charisma?
strength. But then it would be better if you changed to an elf in that case instead of a. If you want to stay the orc route, I would stick with the strength as your primary, and then move your charisma into your int and put your int in your charisma slot.
I just feel like somebody's trying to force you to be an elf here. I don't know why.
I don't know, but I'm not doing it.
Good. Don't do it.
Hey, Steve Areno, is there a box where we check between the hit points and the skill point for every level that it automatically configures for us?
Just if you go to, hold on, I don't remember. Where is this stupid thing?
Because I want to spend those big 6 skill points, you know. Gotta. I'm spoiled. I had Mag with all kinds of skill points. Oh, Mag. In every language.
No, I'm just gonna put it under MISC.
All right, sir. Let's waste our time and look at favorite class options, because those are always garbage.
Do I have to look at different weapons now?
No, you could still choose from the same two from both those options.
Okay.
I'm looking to see if there's some kind of angry version that you could play as well. Since you just really want to be angry. I mean, you could just be an angry person.
I'd have to get some tips from you.
Damn!
I could feel it coming. I could feel it coming when she was.
I
was like,
I
oh, this is gonna
understand.
be good.
I understand that I killed your first ever character, but
Yeah,
why all
my
the
like
hate?
one, because you loved her too, and now she's dead, and it's your fault.
Yeah, well, sometimes you lose the things you love.
Yeah, it's not usually your partner that murders them.
Wait, how many long-term relationships have you been in?
Ugh, too many.
I would say it is usually your partner that murders the things you love.
Okay, so actually, Whitney, there is a version of Magus that does get Blood Rager abilities. They just don't get the rage.
I want
3
the rage.
plus 4.
You can have the RP rage, but not like the actual rage ability.
Well, you get the
6.
I
blood.
don't know what RP
6
rage
louses.
means.
You're just always
Role
angry.
playing.
You're just angry.
Am I still being adopted by the other druid's family?
I mean,
That's
you
the-
could
that's
be
the life.
her reincarnated sister.
Because then I could get elf traits. I could get an elf trait from you if I take the adopted trait.
What
could
do
be
we?
sisters.
So after putting in our ability points,
Assuming I
then
put
we
the
have to look at
beacon.
weapons.
Yes.
All right, so far for knowledges, I have Arcana, Dungeoneering. I know it's going to take Engineering and Des Plaines. I
You're
assume
okay
all
with
you
me
can...
being your adopted sister, right?
Who, me? With your
Yes.
adopted
No.
sister?
No, the druids
I-
being sisters.
Yes, I'm
Alright.
totally okay with that.
I was going to be fine with it. I'm like, sure, whatever. You can be my slow sister.
I usually mute myself when I'm not talking, so if I'm delayed, it's not because I'm like, oh, I'm not really okay with it, I'm saying yes. It's more like I'm just trying to get my mute button.
Makes sense.
I really feel bad that Whitney can't have rage.
Yeah, don't worry, you'll just get it in the rest of your life.
Oh, man. Oh, that's hard.
Steven, did you find out, does the shield thing really make a difference for spells or not?
For the Magus... Hold on. Maguses are slightly different. Maguses using shields normally do have spell failure problems. If you really want to play shield and be a
No, I
Magus...
want it to be easy, so.
Okay.
That was gone immediately. No.
I wish they just had a picture of all these weapons rather than me having to look at the description and then look them up.
I'm sorry.
This is horrible. I mean,
Some
when
of
I
them
was in
also have
first
extra
edition, we
special
used
abilities.
to just read books.
Yeah, that sounds rough, Charles.
You just spend hours reading books. I don't know. What do you think? I think this weapon could use a clevis pin.
Hey,
Then you know you're gaming hard.
I spent 4 hours making my dude before we even started here, so and I'm still making it.
Steven,
Yeah,
what do you
we'll be-
suggest for a weapon? I want a cutting thing, not a hitting thing.
Okay.
Scimitar.
Well, if she's going two hands, then the equivalent of a scimitar would be a falchion.
Okay. But it's only... Oh.
A
so
falchion
since
is
I'm-
2d4 because you're medium
Because
size.
I'm medium. Yeah,
Yep.
I was just checking. But that's still not as big as some other things could be.
Nope, the next size is 2d6. There is also, for two-handed weapons, special orc options. There is, but they're not big in damage range. There's the orc skull ram, which is a d10, or the two-sided orc double axe, which is basically an axe on both sides of a stick. Because you're just not metal enough if you only have one axe head.
What's the damage on it?
On the falchion or the orc double axe?
Orc double axe.
It's a d8 on one side and a d8 on the other.
And when you use it, do you get to use
You
both
have to
sides
you
of
have
it
to
once?
attack separately with both sides, and you need some special feats to get that benefit.
Okay, I'll just do the falchion.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah, I like falchions.
Where do I add that?
Well, right now, just put it in one of your slots, one of your weapon slots, or in one of your. I'm sorry, put it on in your equipment section.
Like as gear?
Yep. For right now, just put it in the gear. In the metal gear.
That's solid.
Thank you.
I got the joke.
Thank you. Everybody should get the joke, because my jokes are great.
Hmm.
Fear's the little man killer.
Actually, there is one. We might be limited to a one-handed weapon, though, because of this. Let me...
What age do people that go to this university normally?
It varies. You can come to a university at any age.
You can't be 5.
No, that's true. You need to be at least some level of adult or near adult.
I'll just put 18.
I'm glad that was clarified that you cannot go to university at 5. That I have to change my entire character.
I know, see? Isn't it disappointing?
I mean, if you had like an intelligence of 30 or something, maybe.
You wouldn't have the maturity for college, though.
Really? You went to college? Are you so sure about that?
People at my college were pretty mature, but it was, a wealthy liberal arts school, so.
I went to Daly Junior College. I would tell you that it was a high school.
Yeah, so I didn't realize it when we were talking about it, Whitney, but you technically cannot, if you want to be able to
You
cast...
don't get a weapon, I'm so sorry.
No, if you want to be able
You
to
know,
cast spells and attack in the same round, you need to use a one-handed weapon and have a free open hand for Magus. I was thinking about the Blood Rager while we were talking about stuff.
So I just don't even get a shield.
No, because you're exchanging it for the ability to cast a spell and attack at the same time.
Okay, so what's a good one-handed cut weapon?
So I would stick with either. I would go back to the scimitar at that point. It's a
Okay.
decent damage at a d6, and you get the 18 and 20 critical. In fact,
I
going
said
this route,
scimitar.
you could be Maldronicus's father or mother.
No.
I am Meldronicus.
I don't know how I could be his mother as a male, but
I didn't know what gender you were playing.
it's on my character sheet.
I didn't see that part of your gender. You could have been a bald woman. I don't know.
You didn't see that part of my gender, meaning my gender.
I was reading in reverse. I thought I said character. Did I say gender, really?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
What next?
So from there, the next thing would be to fill in all the stuff for your character onto the sheet.
What does that mean?
So if you go to the Magus class page, you'll want to fill in things like your base attack bonus, the BAB, in the BAB
Hold on.
slot.
I first have to get back to the Magus page. Oh no, it's over there.
So real quick,
Mhm.
for getting a racial trait that's not my own from adopted, can it be it can be the alternate racial traits also, right?
No, it's the traits from, or hold on. Let me double check this. So many questions. So many questions.
Yeah, Michelle, stop asking so many questions.
Just want to make sure I'm making my character right, okay?
Yeah, so race traits are from the trait list. So you get to pick a trait that would normally be a trait for a specific race and use it as yours. Not from like the
Oh.
yeah.
Where do I put things?
So there should be a line for BAB to match your BAB on your character sheet. Write that color. So it's labeled as it's labeled base attack bonus instead of BAB.
Right, but that's 0.
Right. Then your fort. Hold on. Let me go back to your sheet so I can follow along with you.
This is just frustrating.
If you click in the fort area, you type in next to where it says base. In the base box, you type in the 2 that you're going to get from the first level of Magus.
It doesn't let me type anything.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's under the configuration tab for this. This is
Oh.
annoying. So you put the BAB, fort, reflex, and will here. You get 1 miscellaneous bonus here. And then you get 2 plus int
Or what?
for your skill points per level. So this would be, so you put your ranks as 2 because you get 2 per level. No, on the configuration page, there's a line for ranks. So it goes fort, reflex, will, speed, ranks.
Mm-hmm.
And then there you put 2 in the spot that's a 0. That says ranks. Okay. So you get 5 skill points per level. So you go back to the main page. I'm sorry, you go to the additional page, and then under features and traits, we want to add the traits for both your class and for your race. So you have Arcane Pool.
Where do you see Arcane Pool?
It's, if you're looking at the little sheet, Arcane Pool, cantrips, and
We
spell combat.
skipped. So we skip weapon and armor proficiency and spells.
Yeah, you don't necessarily need to do that filled into the thing.
So Arcane Pool is a feat or a feature?
Arcane Pool is a class feature. So you can add it, and then I'll paste the text in there since I'm looking at your sheet right now. And then you also get spell combat. So I'll sort of sum these up for you so they make sense as well. So spell combat. Whoops. Didn't mean to. Oh.
Yeah, I accidentally clicked my trait.
Spell combat is the ability when you're in combat and you want to make an attack on an opponent, you can also cast a spell beforehand. And normally, in order to cast a spell, you can either only cast a spell or only make an attack. This gives you the ability to make an attack, or cast a spell and make an attack, or make an attack and cast a spell. When you do that, you can... But if you do that, you're going to be at a -2 to your attack if you cast the spell, if you're casting a spell in the same turn. Otherwise, you're at your regular attack bonus. So,
what do I do for per day and type?
Nothing for either of those right now.
Okay.
And then Arcane Pool is you have the ability to make your weapon more powerful. you get a number of points per day equal to half your Magus level plus your Intel modifier. So right now you get 3 points per day, and you can use one of those points to make your weapon give 1 extra attack and damage for, I think it's 1 minute per use. Or is it just rounds? No, it's for 1 minute. So for every point you use, you get 1 minute of your weapon getting +1 to attack and +1 to damage. And so you get and I'll put in math there so you can see the per day list for them later on. So those are what you get at first level from your class. And then we need to turn on spell casting because you get spells, and you get 3 0th level, no, and oh no, you get, I think you get all, it's all 0th level spells for Maguses.
It says first level is 3/0 level, and
No, that's how
first
many
level.
how many you can cast per day is 3,
Oh.
and then 1. Yeah, you start with all 0th level spells known, and you start with 3 first level spells, and an additional first level spell for each point of your intelligence modifier. So you'll start with 5 total spells known, 5 total first level spells known. And you can cast.
How do I add all 0 level spells?
You don't need to add all. You'll just pick out the ones that you like and the ones you think you'll use and add them to there. So the next couple of things get to be a little bit more difficult. Because this is where we get into the customization. It's the picking out spells, it's the picking out your feat at first level, and we can add your racial traits to here. So you get some things for being an orc besides just your strength bonus. You get dark vision of 60 feet. Or not, yes, dark vision of 60 feet. And you get common and orc as starting languages, plus bonus languages. And then you get ferocity. So you could throw ferocity on here.
How many traits is it again?
2 traits, and then minimum 1 flaw, maximum of 2 flaws. And for every flaw you take, you get a trait.
Okay.
And then you don't have light sensitivity. That does not affect you. Because all of these orcs are above ground, natively. Dark vision. Okay, so there's a couple of different ways to figure some things out. We'll go to skills next. I think is the next thing to think about. So, are there specific things that you want to have for skills? You basically can pick 5 skills to put ranks in, and you start off with certain things as class skills, which means you get a bonus if you put ranks in them. Your class skills, I'm going to mark on here on the little check boxes. So your class skills are climb, craft, fly, intimidate, knowledge arcana, knowledge dungeoneering, knowledge the planes, profession wisdom or profession, ride, spellcraft, swim, and use magic device. So if there are anything from those, if there are any other skills that you want that you don't get from your class, you can use traits to get those as class skills, and to get a bonus in those skills, or in those traits, or in those skills. Sorry, I'm just fucking up words. You can use traits to get a bonus to those skills.
Did I have traits as packs?
Yes, you had 2 traits and a flaw.
What were they?
I don't know because I don't have that character open.
Oh, right, because she's been buried.
But I know one of them was a bonus to her diplomacy, and one of them was a bonus to her perform. Because some of the traits will also give you bonuses on top of making them class skills. Does anybody else have any questions, by the way?
Not right now.
Yeah, also not yet, but
Okay.
I think I got some religion questions.
Okay.
How does Pathfinder work?
That's what I wondered. It's too fucking complicated.
And yet, you really enjoyed playing PAX once you started getting the hang of it.
Yeah, but this character building shit, you're like traits and feats and spells and do this to get that, but I'm like, my brain does not have this much room.
Well, the character building is the hardest part. Once you have a character built, a lot of it is just maintaining the character and playing.
Character building is just knowing what book things are in. It's not knowing exactly what it is. I couldn't tell you what any of this arcana shit does, but I know what book it is. I know it's on page 20, and that's all I need to know.
Where do I find the optional traits and flaws to pick from?
Well, let's try to focus on the skills first.
Skills. Oh,
Yeah,
well, I
and then
thought the
decide from
traits affected that.
If you, yeah, the key is there, and are there any skills that you don't currently have access to as a class skill that you'd want access to as a class skill?
And class skill means it's easier for me to get ranks in it?
It means you get a bonus if you put ranks in it.
So, let's see. Is my intimidate low because of my charisma?
Yes, your intimidate directly affects your charisma, or your charisma directly
Other way,
affects your
yeah.
intimidate.
What about heal?
Heal is more like medicine, not healing yourself. I really hate that they called it heal.
I don't know.
For my drawback, can I be, like, attached to my sister?
Yes. Yes, you can.
Okay.
I don't know how exactly you want to play it, but you could always be kind of like the shy one, and I could be like the outgoing
No,
one,
don't give
or-
her that option. I want her
Yeah.
to be the outgoing one.
No.
Yeah! Michelle, this game you're playing the face.
Yes.
Of evil?
That game I want to play.
I'm still being attached to my sister.
I feel like all the things I want don't go well with my character, so I should
Like, what do you want?
I want intimidate.
Okay. So for Intimidate, there's actually a feat that you can take that allows you to use your strength bonus instead of your charisma bonus.
Okay.
Or another option is there's a variant for the Blood Rager, or for the, I'm sorry, there's a variant, part of one of the variants for the Magus that they have allows you to use charisma instead of intelligence. That is the one that I was talking about that also gave you some of the Blood Rager powers.
I would rather have charisma than intelligence.
Okay, so there's some trade-offs that happen here, but basically you change your charisma, change back your intel.
Tell
and your
me
charisma.
about what the trade-offs are
Okay.
first.
So the first is that you get a more limited number of spells.
How much more limited?
Your spells known is like a bard spell list. Is like the bard spells known. So you would have, let me bring up bard real quick.
Pax knew a lot of spells.
Sort of, but compared to like a wizard, she didn't know a lot of spells. And this is known, not that you can cast. So you would only know 4 0th level spells and 2 2nd level spells at this level. So that's one drawback.
What's the point of knowing spells if you can't cast them?
There isn't. But some people like the idea of someday maybe having a spell that they think they'll need later.
Can you get to know more spells in your career?
You can if you're a wizard, and you'll learn more spells as a sorcerer, but you can never learn as many spells as a wizard will know. So you also don't gain the ability to... I forget what this ability does. Hold on, I have to be looking at 3 different things. Because I forget what spell recall does. So you'll start with a Blood Rager bloodline. I'll copy those and let you take a look at those. Those are Blood Rager bloodlines. So you get to start with one of those. But you don't get the bonus feats or the bonus spells from the bloodlines. Oh no, I'm sorry. You don't get any of the bonus feats, but you do get the bonus spells that happen.
It just feels like it would be too confusing.
It only, again, you felt like playing the Bard was going to be too confusing, and you caught on to the Bard over time.
I don't know. She still died, didn't she?
That wasn't because you didn't catch on to how to play the character.
TBD. I just don't know if it's worth it with the trade-offs. I don't know how to decide that.
But it is the big drawback is the way that some of your abilities work. You can only use your spell combat ability when you are using up your Magus points. So those bonus points you get for adapting your weapon, you'd have to use those as well to be able to do spell combat. So that's the trade-off. There is more micromanagement in this character overall.
Yeah, no, I don't want that.
Okay. So then the other option is to take the feat for Intimidate. If the Intimidate is super important, which is called Intimidating Prowess. And I have slightly errated it so it does not include your Charisma modifier. But Intimidating Prowess is add your Strength modifier to Intimidate skill checks. And I'm making it say in replacement of, not in addition to. Would that be something of interest to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Because there's also a feat tree you can do along with that. So we'll take that as your first level feat. So that's Intimidating Prowess. So we can go back here and we can change your Intimidate to be based on your strength. And now you can put a rank in there. And that makes your Intimidate +9. And then we can get a trait for it that'll bring it up to some additional number. So if that's something you want to focus on, then we can do a trait for that.
Yeah, I think so. I like the idea of being able to intimidate rather than only cause damage.
Okay. Pick out maybe a couple of other skills you might be interested in, and I'll try to find you a trait that goes along with it, and you can tell me which you'd prefer. And anybody else can hit me with questions as we go as well, and I will sort of jump back and forth between them.
So, when we were looking for traits before, you showed me a link to a page that had like all the traits listed.
That is
out
called
and
the
what was in
traits
there.
filter. I'll send you that link right now. Actually, I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's annoying because all of the things I like are apparently charisma based. I'm like, oh, sense motive. Wait, oh, bluff.
Sense motive is wisdom based.
Oh, well, I guess my wisdom's shitty too. I'd like to have better perception than I have now.
Well, you can still invest in it if you do a. So I don't think it's not a class skill for you, right? No, but you can take something that'll make it a class skill, and then that could potentially give you a bonus as well. And then if you put it, and then you can put a rank in it, so you can be fighting the negative and try to turn it into a high positive.
Well, yeah, you said to give you other things that I wanted to look
Okay.
for feats. So perception would be one.
Okay. Let's start with the perception one, actually, because I think I know most of the...
Steve-O, I'm going to have to generate this like on a character sheet or something and input it when I'm in work. Every time I start inputting things, the server down here fucking craps out.
Okay.
So, not to mention the fact that I have every book, but...
That's fine. I was mostly worried about getting to know what the characters were going to be, getting to know some of the background about characters. I was hoping there'd be enough time to sort of introduce some stuff. So I think right now, actually...
You and I can do my stuff in
Yeah, because a lot of what we're going to be doing is putting a character to paper. So let's take a step away from the character building stuff right now. Let's talk about some personality stuff for your characters.
Okay.
So you are all going to the Grand University of Shishat in the city of Mearachd. Mearachd is a very, very thriving city due to the wealth of knowledge and the heavy influx of people coming in to learn all things about magic, about history. Mearachd's Grand Temple and Grand University has basically everything you could want to know about the world around you. That in some things that places don't have, that some of the things that other places don't have. People come here to learn all sorts of things. Some things even that you wouldn't expect people to want to learn about. They specialize in it here. When the temple was founded on the idea that all information is valuable and everyone should be able to learn about any of the things that they want to learn about.
Fucking hippies.
So it doesn't really matter whether and it didn't need to be limited just because Shishat's followers had founded it, didn't mean it had to be exclusive to followers of Shishat. But you get a little bit of a bonus if you happen to be either one, aligned with the same ideas or similar ideas to Shishat, which is where the arc of being neutral good, chaotic good, or chaotic neutral comes in. If you believe in the gods, you get there's an additional discount of sorts coming into the church. Right? These are things that make it easier for you to enter into the university. This is part of where these restrictions come from. So these kind of give each of your characters kind of a step up in the educational system and kind of allow me to decide what the game is kind of going to be set on. So for the 5 of you, you all should have some reason that you have come to the university to pursue studies. Perhaps you want to pursue greater strength to overcome your foes. Perhaps you want to gain greater understanding about the world or nature, or maybe you just want to come to gain better understanding of all things. But much like any university, you should be coming here with a purpose that you would want to come to learn about. It sounds like, at least in the case of Michelle's character, she's just coming because her big sis is coming.
Yeah, I'm just pretending that it's because I want to learn more about nature, but I'm really just coming because my sister is.
A lot of where this game is going to kind of start off is going to have a lot to do with what your characters are interested in and what is going on in the area around you. So what I want to do first is I want to know why your character might be coming to this university and some basic ideas you have for what your character's personality is going to be like. So does anybody want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much, like I said, I'm just planning to be this hedonistic, like rich kid who's been spoiled his entire life. Is essentially like the personality. I was thinking like maybe he heard like the college life was filled with parties and stuff.
Okay.
I don't know. Is that?
There'd be less parties, but it is like the most prestigious school that you could go to.
Okay, so he's like more important because he goes here.
Mm-hmm. And then you have enough money that you can kind of make whatever you want happen as you want to. And there is sort of a because Shashat has that contract with the mistress, there is like stuff here that you could become more aware of the teachings of the mistress and be more excused for some of your negligent behavior.
Oh yeah, and also so what I wanted to ask about as far as the religions go,
Mm-hmm.
so would that be like the most like fitting religion?
Oh
like,
yeah, the mistress is
okay.
all about like letting people, deliberately encouraging people to try to have as many unique experiences as they can.
Okay. All right, perfect. And yeah, so I for like my homeland, would I have came from like another country or?
It's you could go either way. You could have come from here. You could be from another country. The only places that have explicit bans on them are they do not allow students to come over from Kashran at this time. But no one from Kashran really travels outside of Kashran.
Is there like a city with like a bunch of like rich families or something?
It could either be this one, or you could be coming from like Krzyzyn over in RA4, because many of the wealthy people in Krzyzyn will send their kids over to this big university because it's like, one, a lot safer than keeping your kid in Krzyzyn. And maybe they would have thought by sending you here they were going to like get you away from all the bad influences. Your family might have thought like, oh, it's the Krzyzyn lifestyle that's making him like this. If we send him off to this church of good people, that'll stop all these bad behaviors.
Yeah, and I definitely would have learned about the mistress in Krzyzyn, so
Mm-hmm.
that's perfect. Yeah, I think Krzyzyn. That's
okay.
where it came from.
Cool. All right, who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
My character, Erasmus Sweetleaf, is from one of those, Temple of Magic families. But I have decided that since I got accepted at Shashat, and I think Shashat is pretty neat, I'm going to go to Shashat University and basically be more elite than the rest of my family. It's going to be like, oh, you went to the Elven Temple? I got accepted at the Temple of Shashat. Must be tough for you because I come from one of them families.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of naive and bookish, and but I have a lot of money, and since I'm not in touch with my woodland side, I'm kind of like, sure. And so that's going to be kind of his thing. This is about proving that hey, I am part of this noble line and not noble line, academic line, and I'm here to excel academically, and then come back and make them all eat my well maintained heels.
Okay. Who's next?
So I was kind of thinking that in terms of why I would be going, I was kind of thinking it might be something like that normally the Druidic society that I belong to, they don't, educate their kids beyond just what they do within their own order.
Mm-hmm.
And that this could have been kind of like a test case for them to see if they send their, like 2 of their children to be educated by this nice university, will it make them stronger, kind of thing.
Okay. So you come from a pretty heavily Druidic family, and they kind of want you to get out and experience something different from what this is, and see if maybe that will have a positive impact.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I was thinking in terms of Michelle's character. I'm open to either, like, if she just wants to be like adopted sister, that's cool, or if she wanted it to be like each one of our parents like married the other and we became stepsisters that way, that would be cool too. Just depending on what she wants to do with her character.
It depends on if I get the adopted trait or not, because I'm already like.
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah.
under any of these circumstances, I'll allow the adopted trait, because it's possible, like, you were born really young and one of your parents died at that early age. The same with Jess's character's parents, and then you were basically raised from a very, very young age in this family, and so you don't really know the difference between it. You can take the adopted trait without it having to like blatantly be adopted. That's also why I would have allowed the reincarnated thing, because the idea is that you died as some member of her family, but when you came back, like, you knew all these details that other people couldn't know. I don't know if you've ever heard those stories about like children that come back, or children that like know things about like their dead grandparents or stuff like that. But this could be that sort of kind of scenario that happens. But you can decide where you want to go with that.
Steve, don't you think they stole that from the Scarred Lands? I feel like they stole that from the Scarred Lands. Like, every time I see that, I know where that came from.
Yeah.
Do you have one that you prefer, or?
Not really. I mean, I think as far as my character's motivation, I would say that she was kind of lonely. Like, if you're adopted in or stepsister, either way, I would say that she was probably lonely beforehand, and so like she thinks having you for a sister is like the greatest thing ever. And she's also like the kind of person that's very protective of like your character, as far as anyone trying to give you a hard time or that kind of thing. Then that's kind of how I sort of view what my character would be like.
But your family is you're an elf, right?
Yes.
Because I'm like, the step sibling thing is weird because I'm a hobgoblin and you're an elf. So like.
No,
Yeah.
actually, so let's clarify some things here first of all. If anything mates with an elf, it produces the thing that mated with the elf. It does not produce a half. There are no halves as far as elves are concerned. So you could actually be like, perhaps Jess's mother died in childbirth, and Jess's father is a human or is an elf. And her mother, her birth mother was an elf, and then later on, her father marries this hobgoblin woman, and that would create your character to be an actual direct sister. If you didn't want to go adopted, but still wanted to have the adopted trait, that would still be another way to do it because you were raised by an elven family.
Any of those are fine with me. Like, I don't have a preference. I think that as far as that goes, like, she would have whenever she met your character in whatever way, then it would be like, to her it would be like, oh, there's another kid to play with, another person to share stuff with, and so that would be her take on it, and she would be very very protective, very like trying to do whatever.
Maybe if we go like actually adopted. The reason I'm so attached is because I finally have family.
Okay.
And so, like, having that family makes me really, like, attached.
Hobgoblins have a very brutal life. Maybe they found you wandering in the wild after your parents got into a jam. And it just basically just took you in, because that's a thing elves might do.
Especially druidic ones too. Like, I would think that my family would want to help someone out if they saw like a small child by themselves.
And then you could have like good flashbacks of Michelle of like, you know what I mean, for like dramatis personas of like when your parents got killed, so that even though you have this stuff, periodically you're like, Mom, Dad.
And then she could gradually find out that she doesn't have a mother and she only has a father, and that they've been doing experiments on her.
Oh, I know that feeling. Yeah.
Oh wait,
Certain noises.
that's a sorcerer bloodline thing.
So much.
There may have been a secondary reason that I wanted Whitney to take Blood Ranger powers.
Oh, that'd have been good. Another father character. Oh, that'd have been fantastic.
So that would just be my motivation. Would be kind of like it's outside of the normal, but they're kind of trying to see with us if sending us outside to be educated and have other experiences if it makes us stronger as a people.
Okay. And what's her personality like?
I would say she's pretty outgoing. She's kind of she's the kind of person that she is laid back in terms of like she doesn't let a lot of things get to her, but she tries to be friendly and nice and caring towards others. She obviously really loves little animals and things like that, and she cares about the environment. Like she doesn't like to see like people damaging the environment, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So
All right. And either Whitney or Michelle. Who's next?
Go for it.
I really decided to pull out a personality.
Whitney? Anything? I know you wanted to be angry.
Yeah, so kind of a loner. My little sister had gotten killed, so I am coming to university to try and build on the sort of innate intelligence I have, but it's not been something that's ever been really seen or valued in me. It's just been my strength. But I want to understand how to sort of defeat evil using strength and kind of other tactics. But I'm not going to be super social, at least at first, because I'm pretty pissed at the world.
Okay. Very good.
Somewhere deep inside you, you know that there was a goblin that was killed for no reason.
I mean, it was little sister. We don't know all the details.
Yeah, it's
I know where to go with this. All right, Michelle, you're all that's left. Well, can you at least come up with why you think you'd be going to the university? Even if, so, we know you're following your sister, right? But is there maybe a secondary motivation behind this? Like, is there anything that you think that she feels like she could potentially gain by doing this as well? Or is this all just in pursuit of Big Sister?
I think she'd also be interested in learning a bit more than she already knows. Because she doesn't have knowledge of many topics. And broadening her horizons in that sense would be nice.
Okay. Right. So I think this makes for a fairly interesting group. So the way that things are going to end up working, to kind of bring your party together, all of you will have been enrolled in this college for in this university for the reasons that you've all kind of expressed. You will be taking a shared course together, and this is one that is one of the what?
Is this community?
No, it is not community. You are not taking Spanish as your shared language.
Nope. It's the Spanish
course.
study group.
This sounds like community in Pathfinder form. Just
No.
have to put
I
that
just
out
want
there.
Why
you to
is
know
it
that I'm gonna watch a
anything
bunch
I
of
come up with,
community
somebody
episodes.
has something that they have to compare it to? The other game, it was Harry Potter. The clinical theurgy game was Harry Potter. I forget somebody made a comparison at one point to Conscripted.
So Tom's character will now be known as Jeff Winger.
God damn it.
Nobody wants to be Pierce.
Nope.
I was just thinking.
Well, I mean, there's
No.
5 of you, not 6 of you, so nobody has
That's
to be
true.
Pierce. I'll make Pierce an NPC that gets killed off by at least the 3rd season, so...
Excellent.
I
Pierce.
call
the dick.
Abed.
Oh my god, I gotta be Troy then.
Alright, so...
Did you hear that sigh? Did you hear that sigh? Just the audible drop. It was so good. It was like, all right then. It was so good, Steve.
I hate that this...
Like, I can't be losing them already. I can't
He's-
be losing them
He's
already.
crying over there, and he's not a crier.
It is just character generation, you fuckers.
Oh.
Keep it together, people.
Alright. So, fundamentally, this class is something that Shishat, that in this university, people who have some measure of, like, intention on either experiencing the outside world with other people, or in learning how to, like, adapt themselves to the world, are kind of forced into. In fact, it's a course a lot of people end up having in their curriculum, no matter how much they try to avoid it. And it is sort of a group studies class where they deliberately, like, people enroll in the class and you're forced into these groups with each other. And the idea is that you're given certain, like, you're given certain tasks that you have to accomplish. And over time, the idea is that you'll learn, like, the fundamental value of being a active and, like, beneficial member of a team.
Loner says this sounds terrible.
That is exactly why your counselor said this would be the best thing for you to take.
I'll do like an extra PE or something.
No, it's a mandatory class, so it's got to be on your schedule. Might as well get it over with quick, right?
If you don't do your work, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna put my name twice. Just want you to know.
Instead. Thanks, Troy.
I'm a sexy Dracula.
See, that's the thing. I feel like based on stats, that actually makes you Annie, Charles.
Oh God, yeah, you're right. You're right. Oh my God, I'm gonna carry purple pens.
By the way, as far as a character name, how about Meadow Rain?
Oh,
Sounds appropriate.
it does sound appropriate. Oh.
Sorry, I had to throw that out there. I was like, oh my gosh, what if I had a hippie name?
Shishant tribute painting.
So how can I defeat evil without having to work with other creatures?
In life, there are many things that you don't have choices over. And to do something on your own is very difficult. It is best if you
I'd
can at
rather
least
do
learn
it the hard way.
how to work with other people. Well, You'll have to talk to your teacher about this because you're already enrolled. So I think this works. This should work out pretty well. I think you're my favorite style of party. You are in very different ends of each other. The only thing I can see beneficial is there are 2 snobs. We got a pair of hippies, and then a loner. This is a great party mix. This is exactly the kind of thing that party studies is all about. Which I'm sure is actually part of why Trent ends up enrolling. He's like, ooh, party studies. This sounds like the right class for me.
Yeah. But then I found out it wasn't.
Yep.
He has a polite nickname for us, the Commoners League. Look at these commoners, Jesus.
We can be the
Shit,
breakfast
why
club.
must you surround me with these peons?
Well, that is one of the things that you're going to have to think about, because at the start of the campaign, your group is going to need to come up with your group name, because your instructor says that's one of the most important things that you need to have when you get started. He will not be referring to you as individuals, he will be referring to you by your group name.
That's disturbing.
You're a group now. You're a party. Act like one.
I say we call ourselves the party. It just saves time.
I think we should be the John Mulaney's lunch bunch.
The sack pack?
The
Sack, whatever
pack,
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, sack lunch bunch.
There
You go.
Oh, that was such a terribly painful thing to watch.
I waited and was so excited. He was promoing, and I got 15 minutes, and I'm like, well, I hope you enjoyed making this John Mulaney because I want my money back, and it was free.
I get what he was trying to do, and I get the style of humor he was going for. But man, I want to meet the person that found that hilarious that wasn't John Mulaney.
He admitted in Conan that every time he would pitch it to somebody and would explain it, they would just go, okay. Like nobody understood who he's going for, but you know, he's had so many hits at this point.
Yeah.
That they're just like, sure. And enough people tuned in it because of his name that he didn't take a hit on it.
I imagine not. I mean, it is one of those things like, how could this be this, like, just unimpressive?
Unfunny?
Yeah.
But it was.
Yep.
It was a parody of Sesame Street that was really taking itself seriously, and I was like, I don't need your singing, buddy.
All right, so are there any additional questions before I think we wrap up for this evening?
How do you spell Chrysiza?
Chrys. I always actually forget it myself, so I'll get it to you later because I am not recalling it off the top of my head.
So the first couple of times he would say that, I thought for sure the name of the place was Chris Isaac, and didn't say anything because I thought that's so weird. Is this like a country? Is this like a country blues place? And then finally I saw it in writing and was like, oh, Chris Isaac. Huh.
And this
That
was
is
while
better than Chris Isaac.
This was while Charles was in my game in person.
That's right. We never went there, and I had Dragon's Cove.
No, you did go there at one point.
Oh, that's right.
Because that was the first time you found a Father Dearest location that had run out of business.
Oh yeah. The garage. Or no, the rolling door.
Mm-hmm.
It's very exciting.
All right. Well,
What time is this happening?
so this game I'd like to start the game a little earlier if possible. Aiming for more like the conscripted or clinical third start time of about 6:30.
Okay.
So it's not a whole lot. I usually start the call around 6. You obviously don't have to join then, but it does help me with setup the earlier you can get on. And then this means that I don't feel like we're smushed in a time as we get closer to like 9:30, 9:45-ish. So, this is a game where there's going to be a couple of things that are different about this game. And one of those things is that if your character dies and somebody else is not currently in 2 of my other games, you may end up being replaced with another character. I'm not fully decided on that. It is something I am thinking on. But I like the idea that this is a university. People could end up getting swapped out. Now, how likely it is to end up going that way, I'm not sure at this point. But like all of my games going forward, this will be a game that if the party reaches 8th level, the game will go permadeath mode. If you die, you will not have another person to replace your character, or to replace that person. You either need to be resurrected, or that's it. We'll go until the game runs down to 1 remaining player.
Got it. So don't run headlong into danger.
Yes. I want to, part of my motivation, just to make it clear, behind the whole your character could swap out, is I don't want to see people being overtly foolish about like decisions. And I think now that people have gotten to kind of see that some of this being afraid of losing characters is going away, like I want players to think more rationally and not make assumptions that like, I am your GM. I want your players to live and I want your players to like grow. But I'm telling the story and I'm letting the world tell the story and I'm just guiding the flow of that. And I will not set up an encounter that is deliberately like, you know, I talk you guys into going on this thing that is very clearly more powerful than you. But there will be like warning signs if you're moving in a direction that's like, this is probably more powerful than you are. But
okay.
Are there any questions about any of that?
Not from me.
Okay. Anybody else? No. All right. Then if you guys can have a little conversation over Discord, if anybody gets any ideas about party names, that would be great. I'm going to brew up a campaign name, and if people want to, you can make your characters on Hero Forge, and then grab either screenshots of it, or I don't think they've enabled link sending yet for it. If you don't want to make it yourself, you can give me details, and I will make it in Hero Forge, so that we can have minis for at least by the second game. We probably will not have an intro for the first game, but I will have intro music for the first game. And then once I have some minis and sort of a good feel for the start of the game, the intro will follow after that. I might get lucky, I might come up with an intro before that, but we'll see what happens. So,
I don't know, you got a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah, I know, work has been so rough lately.
No, you gotta mow the lawn and seed the yard and...
Yeah, did you talk to your sister about the yard stuff?
No, I didn't know when you want to do it.
Whenever you want to talk to your sister and let me know.
When are you free? And then I will tell her.
I will pick a day.
You need to look at the weather?
I mean, to some degree, yes, but...
Look at the weather and tell me a day.
Okay. Alright, we'll do.
That sounds positively fun.
Also, you need to change the sheets.
I do.
Yeah, Steve.
We have to wrap up this call first, though. So, thanks everybody for working together, getting some characters together. I think we've got a pretty well-balanced team, but we won't know until we put you guys out there. So
we all die.
We will find out next week.
All right, everybody.
Good
Enjoy
night.
the rest of your day.
Good
I'll be
night.
working on being sarcastic all week.